Morning, Gina.
Good morning.
How have you been?
Good. Doing well, just playing catch up. I took off the last 2 weeks of the year, so the last week was insane and I'm still not caught
I
up.
bet. I
So
bet. Yeah. Well, good for you for taking the time off, even though it creates some trouble when you come back. It's always worth it. In
yeah,
my experience, I don't, maybe not always.
I usually take that time off every year because, being in manufacturing, a lot of times there's shutdowns then for maintenance, so like
Hmm.
nobody's in anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the right time to do it. The last place I worked before starting, Henry Rose always gave us maybe like the 23rd, 24th, 25th off, which is pretty typical, but then they gave us the week between Christmas and New Year's off, and so I've sort of kept doing that even out on my own. I usually still log on a little bit each day. Um, but it's pretty, I'm not doing any like big stuff. It's pretty relaxing.
Yeah, it's for me it's mostly a lot of cooking.
Yeah, there you go.
So like week of Christmas, I shopped and then I cooked for 3 days. And then the week of uh New Year's, I had a medical problem and I ended up in the hospital. So
Oh no.
I that was a lost week from Tuesday through Saturday. I didn't eat. I was in terrible pain and
Oh my gosh.
it kind of sucked.
Yeah. Are you back to feeling better?
Um, yeah, yeah, slowly.
Somewhat.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to figure this out because I'm sharing the screen, but then I can't see my deck. Okay, let's move this. Let's see if it makes sure
Hmm.
things. Okay, nothing is moving, so I maybe have to share something else because it doesn't seem to be advancing. Um, oh, there it goes. Okay, I don't know why that didn't work. Are you seeing my deck okay? And you're seeing
Yeah, it's on
everything?
page two now, page three,
Okay,
back to page
super,
one.
super, super, super. Okay. Um. And then I'm going to look real quick at something else. I just want to make sure I'm set up okay here. Um, where did that go? There it is. Okay. All right, I think we're good. I've got my speaker notes up. And I was always curious, if I move my speaker notes in front of the deck, you can't see them, can you? You
I
just,
can only see the slide right now.
okay, cool. Because I'm going to move them over here so that I don't have to keep looking to the side.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way to do it. I'm in a similar thing where I've got my agenda over on the other. It's more like an outline than an agenda, but I've got it over on the other monitor. I'm going to try and put it on the main one here.
Did
I
we get
gotta.
any more registrations?
Yeah, so we got a couple the last few days, and let's see. There's about nine or 10.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I made sure to share it and people tend to be last minute.
Hmm.
Hey
Yeah.
Mike,
Hello, Gina.
thanks for
Hello,
joining
Josh.
us.
What's up, Mike? Good to see you
Oh,
again.
yeah, likewise. Glad to be here. Looking forward to this session.
Merry
Thank
Christmas and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Did you have a good time off?
It was wonderful. Yeah, yeah.
you.
Got worked a little bit, but mostly took time off and got to spend a lot of time with family, stuff at the house and crazy times at bowling alleys and stuff like that, grandkids
Bowling
all
alleys are
around, just
always
a
fun
blast.
times.
My wife really did a good job setting it all up. Had it, I use the word catered, but junk food, pizza, onion
Mm.
rings, and all kinds of things. But all right there at the lanes, and just
That's
easy
cool.
to wander back and forth between throwing a bowling ball and grabbing something to eat.
Was it a
Hmm.
holiday party you did there?
It really wasn't intended to be, but it was a New Year's Eve daytime celebration.
I
Um,
see. That sounds like fun.
It was a blast. The grandkids are 10, 13, and 16.
Oh,
And their parents, of course. That's and my wife and I was a blast. Just really enjoyed it.
That sounds great.
where do you live,
I
Mike?
Ann Arbor.
Oh, you're not that far away from me. I'm in Cleveland. I'm going to invite myself next year.
Wow, I like that. So
I
I grew up
used
in Chardon.
You did. I
Yeah,
had a friend
yeah.
who lived in Ann Arbor. He moved from Cleveland to Ann Arbor, and I used to go visit him all the time. And we both are book fanatics, so all the bookstores there, and
Oh,
we
it's
would.
wonderful. Yes,
Oh, I
yes.
don't think it's. I don't know if it still exists, but our out of our favorite bookstores, it was called Shaman Drum.
Unfortunately, I think they closed, but I had been there many times, and that's a really cool street there, State Street. Uh, all the students and
And
theaters
that
and
was
such.
back
It's
in the
cool.
day. That was what is the name? Mongolian barbecue. That
Yeah,
was
yeah, they closed too, unfortunately. But
really.
that was a wonderful place. Yeah. But Ann Arbor's
It,
just got a ton of restaurants. I mean, if you can't find a place to eat in Ann Arbor, you're not trying. It's just
when we would go up, we always went to Mongolian barbecue, but they ended up franchising and we ended up
right,
having a
right.
Mongolian barbecue in Cleveland. But yeah, good old days.
Very cool.
Hey Doug, welcome.
Figured I was
Yeah,
on mute. Thank you. Gina, how you doing?
good, thank you. I'm doing well today.
Oh, good. I'm looking forward to the presentation on how to get things going quicker.
Thanks. It may not be what people expect, but it has worked. It is proven and proven through and through. So we have a bunch of people registered, but no one's popping in at the moment. Are we going to give it maybe another 2 minutes, like wait till like five after?
Yeah, normally we start right now at three after,
Oh,
but yeah, there's probably
dang.
seven more people potentially rolling in. I'm checking my email here to make sure nobody's asking, "Hey Josh, I can't get in. Any trouble
Oh
there?"
yeah.
Um, so let's at least give it a couple of more minutes and then we'll probably Gina, how long do you need for your slides? If there's no questions, how long would you need?
Gosh, probably 30 minutes or less, 20 minutes.
Okay. So we can give it, let's give it a couple minutes here and see if anybody rolls in. While we wait, Mike, I know you know what to do. Doug, I can't remember if you've been on any of these shows before. Is this your first one? Okay,
I
great.
was
Well, thanks for
actually
joining us.
I was actually scheduled for the one last week and I got overcome by work. And I
Yeah.
clicked on your link that said, "Hey, it's recorded here," and I must have gotten there too quickly because it hadn't yet been uploaded. So,
It's up there now. Yeah, it uploads the Wednesday after, so yeah,
okay.
it'll be there now. So Mike, Gina, Doug, while we wait, and we'll try and give everybody a few more minutes to get in here. Some of you know the drill, some of you don't. Put an emoji in the chat. Mike's already ahead of me. No faces allowed, and it shows how you're feeling today. No faces, no explanations. So you've really got to dig deep to try and explain what you're thinking. And then we'll all just kind of try and guess it. It's kind of a fun way to get things started.
The emojis. How we're feeling today?
Yeah, something about how you're feeling today or what's going on, what you're planning to eat for dinner tonight. It's really pretty open-ended, but an emoji that describes you in some way today. All right, so, and then I love to try and guess. So Mike is going to a grandkids basketball game this
Yes,
weekend or
sir.
this
Yep,
evening.
going for the fifth win in a row tonight.
Oh, there we
Are
go. A little win streak.
Yep.
you going for a hike or a walk, Josh?
Nope, I am just actually barefoot. And I pretty much always wear socks at all times. And I took them off the other day, and my wife was making fun of my toes. Not really making fun of them, but commenting on how gross they were. So I did some research, and like socks are always kind of squeezing your feet. My shoes are always squeezing my feet. So I'm trying to let them breathe a little bit. And I'm not used to it. It's weird being barefoot.
See, I'm usually barefoot, but I got diagnosed last year with peripheral neuropathy, and like my toes and the balls of my foot are numb. And they
Oh,
said
dang.
that it's like a sensation of cold, like almost like your feet are in snow. And they said sometimes it helps if you keep socks on to like warm up your feet. So now I've become the opposite. I've
So
become a sock wearer.
we passed in the air, sounds like. And Gina, the unicorn. So just feeling like magical and shiny and ready to go today is my guess.
And I feel like I am a unicorn. I'm kind of a weird anomaly, as you'll learn in this presentation.
I like it. That is always a fun thing to learn about people is how they're unicorn and unique from other people,
Just like everyone else.
just like everyone
Like
else.
snowflakes
That's
or
right.
fingerprints. Snowflake, isn't it terrible that snowflake has a bad connotation now? It's a beautiful snowflake when everyone's unique. It's like, and now you say
Yeah.
that and people automatically think politics.
Do you see
Yeah.
the guy who was taking micro photos of individual snowflake crystals uh, and then printing them? I mean, that's his photographic
Oh,
topic.
I'm sure
That's
Uh,
they've got
cool.
to be exquisite.
oh, they were amazing. Yes, yes. It's one of those things where you go, that'd be cool. And then, depending on how big you could get it, on the wall or what have you. Anyway,
I'm gonna look it up. After this meeting, I'm gonna go look it up.
Yeah,
All
that
right.
sounds neat.
Well, I guess no one
Okay.
else is coming, so it's just us cats.
Yeah, I'm gonna say let's roll into it. Gina, I've got a couple of introductory things, and then I'll kick it off
Okay.
to you and you'll take it away. So I know I'm connected with Mike and Gina on LinkedIn. Doug, I have no idea if we're connected or not, but if you want to connect with the other people on here after the emoji, you can put your LinkedIn handle in the chat. It's a great way to communicate. Interrupt Gina. Don't let her go for 30 minutes straight without any questions or ideas. Chime in, ask questions, disagree. That's always fun. Give your opinion while Gina's going. We want this to be interactive. That's the whole purpose of being here. If not, you might as well just listen to the podcast.
She's full of
Um,
shit.
I am, so this does get recorded and turned into a podcast. So I'm going to do a little intro for that audience. And then Gina, I will kick it over to you. So there's never been a question here ever. I'm assuming that there are no questions here now. So with that, let's get started. Action. Good morning, everyone. My name is Josh McCain. I'm the founder of Throughput Mastery, a peer-to-peer group coaching program for manufacturing business owners. And I'm joined today by Gina Tabasso, who's going to talk about aligning your team to one primary goal to make sure everyone's rowing in the same direction, something that sounds easy and obvious, but usually is
Mhm.
not. And before Gina dives into her content today, I've got a really important question for her that matters a lot. We got to hear her answer. Gina, which extinct animal would you like to bring back to life?
Um, probably one of the extinct ancestors of the modern horse. Um,
Ah,
I'm a horse person and I had a horse for many years. And I always loved going to the Cleveland Natural History Museum. And they had the skeletons there of the evolution of the horse and how it went from having toes to each toe disappearing and having a hoof. Or the other one would be Lucy, Australopithecus africanus. She was supposedly one of the missing link between apes and humans and when they started to walk upright. And she was discovered by um, scientists from Cleveland and all of the stuff is in the Cleveland Museum of Natural History. So yeah, that's a great question. It made me go back in time and like think about things I haven't thought about in a while.
yeah. Your answer is way more intelligible than mine would be. I would have just said dinosaurs, and that would have been the end of it.
I was an English major, so I read a lot, and I read a lot about a lot of different stuff. So I know there's way too much rattling up in this head.
Well, cool. It makes for very interesting answers. All right, Gina, take it away.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for joining us today. I'm I'm the founder of Barracuda B2B Marketing, and I used to call myself a marketer, a fractional CMO. I don't anymore. I call myself a B2B growth strategist. And the reason I do that is because I have a Lean Six Sigma background. So I have my yellow and green belts. I'm partway through my black. My black belt project is my seventh Lean Six Sigma project. So once you see that process improvement, you can't unsee it. Like you filter everything through that lens. Everything's a process. And then I also was welding certified. I ran American Machinist in welding design and fabrication. And then I was Sandler sales trained. So I have a Sandler bronze certification and a year of sales mastery. And so you put all these skill sets together, like process improvement, project management, scaling teams, scaling startups, business development, sales, you end up looking at organizations holistically instead of myopically. There's no marketer on the planet that goes in like I do and looks at strategic plan, M&A, sales training, sales process, succession planning. I mean, that's why I came up with this topic. This is the origin of it. Because when I go in as a CMO, I look at all of that because all of that's going to affect the marketing strategy. It's got to be for the organization, not just for one department or one team. So, whenever I go into engagements, this is the biggest problem I see. Sales, marketing, and operations are working in silos. They're working at cross purposes. They are not working collaboratively. So, that's why I wanted to cover this topic. So, with that said, I'm going to head to our next slide. Why alignment matters. Why should I care? It's again about Lean Six Sigma. If you're unaligned, you have waste. You have lost opportunities, wasted time, lost revenue. Um, and also it can impact your buyer's journey. It can impact your customer service. Think of all of us. When we go to purchase something, we want a seamless experience. When people drop the ball and it's not seamless and it's jagged, it impacts and affects us, and it affects our opinion of that organization. And complexity, manufacturing is so complex, and that makes alignment even more critical. In a more simple organization, things can kind of go rogue. Everybody can do their own thing and it doesn't affect anything. But in a complex organization, there's a lot resting on everyone's shoulders. So, what does one team, one goal mean to me? What does it really mean? A lot of people think, oh, well, I cooperate with them. Marketing asked me to review this blog, and sales asked marketing for a flyer. We're cooperating. Well, it's cooperation is an alignment. So the thing, true alignment, you see it on the slide. I don't need to go over it. But what I find all the time is that cooperation looks like what's in it for me. I'll help you, but what's in it for me? Where alignment means we are all here for the greater good of the company. And if the company succeeds, we succeed. And that's where true alignment happens. And a lot of times it's very difficult for sales organizations to have that alignment because they are incentivized by commission. And so every action they take, they want to feel that it's putting food on their table. And so a lot of times it is this what's in it for me mentality. Versus a marketing person's on salary. They don't have to worry about scrounging for their supper and to pay their bills. So what do we do about this? Silos. So when these teams operate in silos instead of in alignment, they have conflicting metrics and KPIs. They're not rowing in the same direction and they're not measured the same way. Sales and operations and marketing, usually in most organizations, are measured differently. And it's not saying that they shouldn't be, but there should be some commonality. Leads fall through the cracks. I see it all the time. As a marketing person, I would throw a qualified lead over the fence and I'd follow up because that's the kind of person I am. No one called them. No one answered the email. They're too busy out there hunting. Um, Your messaging's inconsistent. Sales is saying something one way, operations is saying something another way, marketing's saying something another way. You've got three different brand voices, and your customers can get confused. And so I really want to look at how to fix this, how to fix these silos.
Hey, Gina.
Yes, sir. Please jump in.
A couple slides back, you had something that I thought was really insightful that
I can go
said
back.
alignment isn't just cooperation, it's shared incentives and shared accountability. So
Hmm,
you're
hmm.
not just asking the team, hey, we want you to work together on this. We think it's important that you work together on this. You are setting their goals to work together and their incentives and then holding them accountable to working together. I thought that was really good. And I know that you had said, hey, it's on the slide. I don't need to read it, but I wanted to call that out for anyone listening that I did think that was really valuable.
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. So I'll head to the where I was heading with leadership. So this is the solution. The problem I always see when I go into organizations is that the silos happen because leadership isn't requiring alignment. So it starts at the top. If you have a shared KPI, it becomes an organizational KPI instead of a sales KPI, a marketing KPI, an operations KPI. And you create this culture of cross-team functionality. Leadership has to set that expectation. And so I usually make that recommendation when I go in. You've got to tell your sales head and your marketing head and your operations head work together or else. Like I want to see this alignment. Um, so why they have to work in lockstep, and this is when I go talk to leadership about this, they always ask that question because they want to know what's in it for them. If I mandate this to my three teams, what's going to be the impact? They always want to tie it back to ROI.
Mm.
So I think that if you get true alignment, these things will happen. Marketing will understand the sales process. They don't now. Marketing doesn't know what a sales cycle is, a sales process, a sales playbook. They just lob the leads over the fence and hope they get taken care of. They don't have sensitivity for the difficulty of sales. I didn't. As a marketer, I didn't until I got my Sandler sales
Mm.
training. And then that was a game changer. And I tell that to other marketers. When my career changed was when I learned to speak other languages. We all speak the language of marketing as marketers. You have marketing tools in your toolbox. But when I learned Lean Six Sigma, I speak the language of manufacturing. When I learned Sandler sales, I speak the language of salespeople. I know what an upfront contract is and pendulum theory and budget steps and all of that. And I can be sensitive to the process of sales and their challenges. Sales also has a perception of marketing that they sit around all day and write blogs and play on social media and don't do anything of value. Um, and it's so untrue. Like when I go in as a fractional CMO and I do all these strategies and reports and stuff for the team and I share it with the sales team and the ops team and the marketing team and the CEO, they're blown away. They're like, oh my God, we had no idea this was what was involved in marketing.
Mm.
And it's so much bigger than that. And operations, they have to be included because they're responsible. They're the one who fulfills the promise, the lead time, the quality, the delivery, the production. So they are an important part, and they're often left out. Often, if there is alignment, it's between sales and marketing, and they feel threatened by operations. So this unified this unity creates a unified customer journey, and the customer is what matters. They are paying our paychecks.
Yep.
So, here are my suggestions. How do we do this? The how is always the question. So, joint planning means sales, marketing, and ops co-design plans, an annual plan or a quarterly plan. A unified tech stack, one CRM, one ERP system, a dashboard that all teams have visibility to. Shared KPIs, those can be pipeline metrics, those can be revenue goals, um, defined lead handoff rules. That means sales and marketing and operations agree on what is a sales ready lead. What is the actual, goes from marketing qualified lead to sales qualified lead. So that marketing understands what sales ready really means. Content and tools, that's basically marketing assets mapped to sales stages. And that often is missing. Marketing is just doing what they think they're supposed to do and what they're told to do. There's not a lot of sales input or sales feedback. When I'm in organizations, I sit in on the sales meetings. I go to every sales meeting so that I make sure I am mapping my marketing to their needs and their stages of the buyer journey. Alignment meetings are always important. Like I said, I go to those the weekly sales meeting. I become part of the sales team. I embed myself. And I've never seen a salesperson come to the marketing teams. I think it would be nice if
Hmm.
they embedded themselves and then they could understand the marketing stages.
Gina,
And
I
then,
wonder,
yeah,
I agree with you that I've never seen salespeople come to the marketing meetings. And I don't have an answer for this, truly asking out of curiosity. I wonder if that is more marketing closing the doors and sort of keeping the meeting private, or sales not wanting to take the time and get involved. Probably a mix of both, but I wonder, in your opinion, which one of those you see as more common.
I don't see it as either. I see it as a leadership problem. I remember when I first started doing this, this was before my Sandler sales training. I had a CEO who required me to sit in on the sales meetings, the weekly sales meetings. After I did that, I saw how valuable it was, but that leader did not require the
Mm,
sales people to sit in on any marketing meetings. Maybe
yeah.
because he felt, to be honest with you, at that company, I was a department of one. So if I'm sitting in on the sales meetings, then I can talk about marketing in the sales meetings. But I still feel like in a larger organization with a marketing department and a sales department, it should be one of those KPIs. It should be a requirement that they work collaboratively and have those group meetings and team meetings. And I think because
Hmm.
that's not happening, like what you said happens, marketing, they don't respect each other. We don't care about what you do. We don't care about what you do. We're busy. We're trying to get uh, commission. Like, just do your thing and do what you're paid to do. And so I think
Hmm.
it has to be a top-down mentality. And
Yeah.
then feedback loops, sales often fails to share customer insights with marketing. I have begged, I have pleaded, can you send me any testimonials? Can you get any information? And now that I'm Sandler sales trained and I sit in on those sales meetings and we talk and they understand the value of it, that's the problem. They don't understand the value proposition because no one's told them. Sales doesn't understand marketing. They're not marketing people. But if you can explain the value proposition, here's why we need them, here's what we do with them, here's the value of them,
Mm.
then that changes the game. So, these are some of my suggestions for how to get alignment.
Yeah.
Question
Yeah,
for
those
you,
are really good.
Gina.
Yeah,
What do you do for a small company where it's sales and marketing and they're theoretically expected to do both? The salesmen go to the trade shows. Um, the salesmen, are coming up working with top management to identify what's the slogan or the new title for the product or whatever the case may be.
get a marketing department or a marketing person who knows what they're doing or hire me. I see that all the time. You have the VP of sales and marketing or the sales and marketing director, and they're never a sales and marketing. They're always from sales. It's always a salesperson in the role, and they really, most of the time, they don't understand marketing. I have met some really savvy salespeople who get it, but a lot of times they have done marketing in some capacity or learned about it in some way. Um, But yeah, if you've got a company with a small team and it's just sales doing everything, they're in charge of the marketing. You're not really doing marketing. I was at a small company. I was at a small $8 million company. Um, and I went to all the trade shows with the sales team and I sat in on their meetings every week. And that owner got it that he needed a marketing person and he brought me in as the director. And we did more things than the sales team could have done alone. Like one time they were strapped for some leads. They kind of were tapped out. And I did a 10-day campaign and I generated 35 qualified leads and sales quoted 80% of those. They couldn't have done that on their own. They couldn't have brought in 35 leads in 10 days and gotten 80% quotes. So that's my recommendation. I see manufacturing all the time. That's another webinar, but I see manufacturers all the time don't see the value of marketing. They see it as a cost center rather than a revenue generator
Yep.
because oftentimes they're not doing it right. They're doing Lean Six Sigma on their shop floor, but they're not applying it to their sales and marketing processes. So you need to be strategic. You need to have a process. You need to not be I don't know what the word is, captured by the digital marketing agencies that oftentimes do people a gross disservice. They teach them that marketing is Google ads, and if you stop giving me money for Google ads, your leads dry up and your funnel dries up and your cash flow stops. My goal, I shouldn't work for you for 5 years. I should work for you for 1 year, get the engine running, and then maybe if you want to bring me back every couple years to retool your strategy. Um, so I think that's part of the problem. They throw money at the wall, hope it sticks. Try this, try this, try this. Oh, it didn't work. Marketing doesn't work. It's just because it's not being done strategically.
Yeah. Gina, you touched on a really important thing that I was going to say, and I'm glad you already hit it, is that the first thing that that owner needs to do is change their perception on whether marketing is an expense or an investment because
Mhm.
it shows up as an expense on the income statement, but it is an investment for the future of the company. And just like you said, Gina, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're playing small, so you stay small. And if you don't bring in a marketing person, you're not going to generate those 35 leads in 10 days, and you're not going to have those sales come in. So
Mhm.
you're trying to save money, and then you end up leaving a lot of revenue on the table, and you have a ceiling of how far you can grow because you're not generating additional business.
I wonder,
Well,
has somebody done that study? Because it's I think a fairly common theme that companies get to a level and they struggle like the bejeebers to get to the next level. And that's because they're doing things the same way and they've kind of maxed out where they could go, but they bring on, in this case, a marketing director who then helps to get the word out, does the right things to get people interested, understand the expertise, the value proposition, and your sales then go from 10 million to 15 or to 20 or to 30 or whatever that number happens to be.
yeah, the one company I was in, we grew them in 2 years from a $2.25 million company to, I don't know if it was 8 or 10 million in 2 years. And I'm working with a manufacturer right now. They have stagnated. They've plateaued at 8 million for probably the last 5 years, and they just can't get to the next step. And that owner of that company is very modern, just very smart, and he's into automation and he's into AI, and he realized we've never done marketing and we need to do it, and so he brought me in to help them get to the next level. I've only been working with them for 3 months now. So it's very foundational. We had to stand up a CRM, segment their lists, clean up their systems, create a bunch of content. So the first 3 months were a lot of it takes me about a month to do my strategic uh, my marketing strategy because it's very comprehensive. I do an internal SWOT analysis. I interview the entire sales team individually and ask them about 40 questions. I do a sales assessment. I interview their customers and do voice of customer work. Um, I do an external SWOT analysis. I do competitive research, market research. So it's very time consuming, but that's kind of what I end up getting brought in to do. So let's look at the next slide, which is impact. That's what I was talking about before. Like, why should I do it? What's in it for me? What's the ROI? So when it's done well, you get better lead quality, quicker conversions. I'm doing a couple more webinars. I'm doing a webinar next week that is talking about accelerating sales cycles without burning out your team. Like, what marketing person does doing these sales things? And then I'm doing a lunch and learn for women in manufacturing next month that is talking about what Josh mentioned earlier, the stagnation and getting stuck, and kind of in this economy especially, the name of that lunch and learn is Don't Retreat, Advance. And in a bad economy, manufacturers tuck in, they cut their marketing budget, and they sit. They sit and they idle. And companies that are continuing to market and nurture leads and bring in leads, they're going to be ahead of the pack when things break open. Um, so it gives customers a better experience. That's actually my Lean Six Sigma Black Belt project. I'm doing a black belt project for a manufacturer looking at better customer feedback loops and better customer experience. So we're implementing a Net Promoter Score survey, and we're going to survey all of our customers. If they give us an 8 or above, we're going to ask them for a 5-star Google review. Google reviews help, they're a huge help to SEO, to organic search. Google ranks and indexes and factors in heavily Google reviews. So that is something I'm working on with them. Um, and it increases revenue, reduces miscommunications, so you get measurable gains. So how do I do this if a manufacturer is watching and, where do I even begin? Holy cow, I'm drinking from the fire hose. This is a lot of information. I tell them first define those common KPIs. What do you want to hold everybody accountable against? Make sure you,
Hey, Gina,
yes,
your slides stopped advancing. Are they advancing for anyone else? I'm still on slide 7.
really? Huh, I'm seeing slide 9. Can you guys see it change now?
No, still on the same.
That's very odd. Maybe
Yeah, it's
let me
on
do
the
that.
alignment slide for me.
It's on 7. That's 7. Okay, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm just going to reshare. Thank you for letting me know, Josh.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, let's share again and see if I can advance. Let's see. I have to pull up my presenter view. Oh, that's what I did wrong. I didn't. Let's try it again. Share slideshow. Okay, let's see what we got now. Now I'm on slide 7. I'm going to try moving you forward. Do you see impact?
There we go.
There.
All right, we got stuck. All right, guys. She's I'm talking away and they're like, what? This is what I went through just before was higher lead quality, faster conversions, customer experience when I was talking about my Lean Six Sigma Master Black or my Lean Six Sigma Black Belt project. So now we should go to the next slide. You got that slide up okay? Practical first steps?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So that's where I was saying, what are the first steps to take? How do I get started? So define that common KPI you want to hold your teams accountable against. I always see in manufacturing, I work with a lot of small to mid-sized manufacturers, so they're usually 50 million or less. Most of them do not have a CRM. They are still operating on an Excel spreadsheet. You cannot track buyer journey. You cannot measure marketing's KPIs or ROI. You cannot look at conversion points, lost sales. You really need the data. So one of the first steps I always take going into a manufacturer is standing up a CRM. Um, it's lovely if it integrates with your ERP, but a lot of manufacturers I work with do not, they have legacy ERP systems. so they don't play well with other modern technologies, and often they lock it down to keep you beholden to them. They don't Oftentimes the ERP systems don't want you to integrate with other platforms. So sometimes it requires a manual export and you have to download all your contacts and clean all those lists up and then upload them to your CRM. Um, Establish those regular meetings. Um, Create a shared sales level agreement. So a sales level agreement um, is really where you're just getting alignment. It's a document between sales and marketing, and it usually defines mutual expectations and responsibilities and metrics. So you actually put it on paper. It's not just lips moving. You need to do this, you need to do that. We want you to work together, blah, blah, blah. Document lead quality, response times, follow-up processes. It's almost like sales playbooks, but it's like a sales and marketing playbook. And then uh, collect feedback and act on it. I mean, if somebody is struggling and not getting what they need, um, help them get over the hump and make sure that you're constantly like just like Lean Six Sigma, DMAIC, you have to control that last step. People often forget that step. They do a process improvement and then they let it go and think it's fine, and they fail to continue controlling it. And then it falls apart and it falls by the wayside and things go back to the way they were. So these are the first steps you can take, and none of these are costly. Defining
Mhm.
KPIs, CRMs. I use a CRM with my manufacturers that's like $87 a month. Meetings aren't costly. Creating a document isn't costly. Feedback isn't costly.
Gina, on the sales level agreement, that's a new concept for me where sales and marketing sit down together and they come up with an agreement together. Is
Mhm.
that common practice? Is that coming from Lean Six Sigma, or is that something that you've developed?
No, it's not something I developed. It's something that has existed, but most people aren't implementing it. If you Google it, like service level or sales level agreement, there's even templates out there. It's just something in my career, I think because of my cross training in marketing and Sandler sales, I think it was something I became aware of when I was Sandler sales trained. And that's when I started utilizing it to get alignment between teams. At the time that I got that training, I was with Magnet, which is the Ohio MEP. I was with the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. So I was a consultant, just not for my own business. So I was consulting with manufacturers. And I would go in and always see sales and marketing not in alignment. And my boss was a sales leader, and he and I worked in lockstep together. We worked the way sales and marketing teams should work. And because we had that sensibility, we would go into engagements together and we would really partner to make the system work as a whole. So that's when I started really utilizing that.
I see. Thank you.
Mhm. So let's see. So honestly, that is my whole presentation. I wanted to end on revenue, what's in it for me, practical first steps, and then take any questions that folks may have.
Yeah, before I go to the prepared questions, thank you, Gina, very much. That was very informative, and I've got some notes here that I wrote down from stuff that I learned today. So thank you for sharing all of this.
Thanks
And
for
I
the
wonder,
opportunity.
yeah, absolutely. I wonder if anyone's got any questions before I ask you some questions. Any thoughts, feedback, or questions from anybody on here today? All right, well, let's move into the structured Q&A then, the original questions that Gina sent on. So I'll read it. You guys chime in, and then Gina will expand and explain or agree with you, or maybe disagree with you. I'm still waiting for some exciting disagreement here. You never know when it's going to happen. So, what shared KPIs? This is a big one, aligning incentives and accountability and goals. What shared KPIs should sales, marketing, and operations measure together? Any ideas on what some of those KPIs should be? And Mike, I'm counting on you because this is a big thing that you're involved with. I'm hopeful you've got some good ones here.
Yeah, thank you. So this really resonates with me. Best experience, I think, in having a team that, as a person in operations, I felt had great alignment with sales and marketing was simply to have a KPI of sales growth, of revenue that we were all held accountable to. Sales was, marketing is accountable to generate the market interest in the leads. Sales was accountable to bring the deals home, and operations was accountable to deliver. And we were all incentivized financially the same based on the same revenue targets. And I just felt KPIs and many activities that are required to deliver that. Just having that simple shared KPI was really powerful for us, and we tracked it and worked together and fought and kicked and collaborated and had some really good outcomes. So that's one example that I've experienced where I really think that was a good approach to have that shared KPI.
That's fantastic. Thank you for that example. That's an organization ahead of other organizations. They're doing something not a lot of people are doing. I love something you said, Mike. It was exactly what I tell people. You share a KPI, whether it's whatever it is, revenue versus plan, gross margin, forecast accuracy, on time, in full delivery. Those all sound like, well, those aren't marketing things, those aren't sales things, those are all operations things, but they all work together. So the KPI says no team wins unless the customer wins. And I think that the KPI should always be focused around the customer. If the customer wins, we all win.
That's good. I really like that, Gina. That's a great takeaway is that your KPIs, you can focus them on what you do internally, and that will eventually trickle down to the customer is the idea. But if you write your KPIs strictly with the customer in mind, you'll probably come up with some of the same and some different KPIs. I really like that a lot. Your KPIs should steer directly towards the customer.
One of the KPIs we're going to be using once I finish my black belt project is going to be those customer surveys, those net promoter score surveys and those Google reviews, because that has to do with, are they happy with your marketing and your messaging? Are they happy with your salesperson who helped them? And are they happy with operations and how the thing was manufactured and delivered? So that could factor into your KPIs because that's a touch point for all your teams. The customer is a touch point. So that's one thing that I'm working on with my project, but I kind of got stalled. I was working on my black belt project when my position was eliminated at my manufacturing company I worked for in 24. And then I turned my attention to doing building my business full time. And my former boss and I are still very good friends, and he said he would pay for me to finish my black belt project for him. Um, and I just haven't had the time to get back to it, but I plan to do it. I definitely want to finish that.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like a good project. As you've explained it on here, it sounds great. Something else to touch on what you said, Mike. Way back in the beginning, Gina, you said this is not just set some KPIs or ask the teams to cooperate and then you're done. It's a cultural shift, a cultural change in expectations.
Hmm.
And as you were talking, Mike, about what kind of KPIs you might choose, it struck me that the KPIs, they matter, but they don't matter nearly as much as what the culture is. So your KPI could be revenue growth, new customers added, or on-time delivery. So it can come from marketing, sales, or operations. But if all three teams know we're all working together on this. So an example that I thought of is the operations, on-time delivery. That is not a sales function. But if they're culturally bought in, they can say, okay, how can I contribute to on-time delivery? I need to let the ops team know as early as possible when we've got a potential opportunity coming down the line. I need to let them know what the customer's expectations are. I need to let them know that the customer said they're going to be closed on Thursday and Friday next week. So the sales team can start to think creatively because they've culturally bought in. And so the KPI matters in my mind a lot less than it still matters, but it matters a lot less than the cultural buy-in of the teams.
I My last company that I was with, the manufacturer, My boss, he was a marketer. He was a CMO. I've worked for him 3 times in my life. Evidently, we like each other, but he gets it. And so once a week, he had a team meeting where he would be in the room and the salespeople were in the room, I was in the room, and the ops manager was in the room, the plant floor manager. So we would have a weekly meeting, and it was so informative. I get to hear like, oh, we got 125 unit order, and it's in X and such location and X and such customer, and we're having a challenge sourcing this material, and whatever. And I would I'd determine the trade shows we'd go to, and I would get those set up, and I would go out with the guys to all the shows. And so we were working very collaboratively, and that's the company that we grew from 2 to 10 million in like 18 months. And we were rowing together. We were in
Mhm.
alignment. We were in it with each other. I have never worked with a sales team that was so cooperative
Mm.
and a joy, absolute joy to work with, really. So now I'm doing the same thing. My one client, that's a high precision machine shop. We do the same thing. We have a weekly meeting with the owner of the company, the sales manager, one of the salespeople, and the ops person, and we have a marketing level set touch point. So it's really valuable.
And that weekly meetings, bad meetings should get a bad rep, but good meetings should be appreciated and they should still be used. Meetings in general have gotten a bad rep when really it should just be bad meetings. But a weekly meeting with the owner and sales and ops and marketing, that does a lot for the culture of the company when the owner says, "This is worth my time to sit in here with you all for however long the meeting is every week. I care about this. I'm committed to this, and you should too, because this is the future of the company." That does a lot for the culture.
Yeah, it's really amazing. It's and they're very productive meetings. They're not just meetings for the sake of meetings. We get stuff done. We
Yeah.
get things answered. We go through documents. I give them homework, and like then they bring their homework with them to the next meeting and we
Hmm.
go over that. They ask questions. I teach them how to do things. I'm there not to do the work and stay have them beholden to me. I'm there to teach them. Like, I'm going to get this set up. Here's why I do what I do. Here's how to do it. You can do it yourself. You can take it over, or you can have a team take it over. So I'm kind of like the owner's daughter is going to be taking over the company. So I'm kind of working with her because she wants to know more about marketing as she becomes a leader of the organization. So I'm mentoring her. And that's how what a consultant should do. They should be a mentor, not an order taker. And hey, here's a
Hmm.
report. Bye. Good luck to you.
Yep.
Um, so did you have
Yep.
any other questions you wanted to go on? Ask Josh.
Yeah. So this is probably my favorite question that you sent over, and this might be the last one we have time for today, is what cadence, so we were just talking about meetings, what cadence and meeting structure ensures alignment without overhead? So what meeting cadence and structure avoids those bad meetings that people hate showing up to, but is still productive, creates that culture where everyone is bought in and generates forward momentum.
Is that a question for me to answer?
That's a question for everybody. Mike, yeah, go ahead, Mike.
So this is actually the same, the different functional areas, sales, marketing, and ops, all had the shared objective of revenue growth. And a meeting cadence that worked well was to sort of begin each planning year with some fact-based analysis of what revenue expectations could be, customer by customer, month by month, and that helped us kind of get level set for the year. And we challenge each other, I don't think you're going to win that order. You need to go pursue another customer because, that customer, has historically, not come through, and all kinds of healthy debate and collaboration to kind of set targets. And then throughout the course of the year, we would review on a regular basis, typically monthly, how we were doing to those forecasts, those budget commitments, and what needed to change throughout the year to course correct. Because of course, when you're doing following your budget planning in the fourth quarter, it never turns out exactly that way. So there's always a need to course correct. And so when one set of orders didn't come through, we would collaborate on, how to pursue something else. And, from an operations perspective, instead of, maybe the stereotypical role of saying you guys are overcommitting, gosh, we can't deliver that. Those of us in ops, we were engaged, we were on board because we were financially incentivized to hit the sales targets. So we wanted that new business. We wanted the orders to come through. And I think that meeting cadence, starting with an annual budget forecasting based on facts and data, and then following up on a monthly basis to reflect on how things were going, helped us to stay on track and react together when we were getting off track. So that's one scenario I've seen that worked well for us.
Thanks, Mike. You have shared some wonderful tidbits in this meeting. I'm glad you came. You're my case study. The way I would answer that question is I would say it honestly depends on complexity of the organization and size of the organization. Like if not much changes in a week, then do you need a weekly meeting? No. But if it's a more agile organization, depending on the product they're making or what they're selling or who they're selling to, some organizations things change really rapidly. Um, Also, the size of teams, like the companies I'm talking about that we met once a week, they were small teams. I mean, everybody in that meeting was pretty much in leadership. So, what I usually recommend is with those smaller organizations I go into, a short weekly tactical check-in. Tactical. It's a working session, not a talking session. We get stuff done.
Hmm.
And then a monthly performance review, like Mike said. And then we would usually do quarterly planning sessions just to keep alignment. Basically, frequent enough to prevent any surprises or backsliding, but
Hmm.
disciplined enough so that we don't get meeting fatigue.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Like my
Doug, I
meetings,
saw
those
you unmute.
meetings, those once a month meetings were, or once a week meetings are 20 to 30 minutes, literally.
Yeah. Yeah. Quick and effective. Yeah, I like it.
I was
Hmm.
going to say we have a weekly all hands on deck meeting, about 15 minutes or so, just to run through all of our metrics. How are we doing on our scoreboard?
Love it.
How's it going? How's it going? And then, the owner, kind of gives us a summary, gives us a pep talk, so to speak. One of the things we've got is we're shooting for kind excellence, which means you need to have the hard conversations when you need to have the hard conversations, but you do it in a way that you're, allowing people to fail if need be. You're trying to keep them stretched. And this year we're looking to get faster and get better. And that means being prepared so that when the time comes and the opportunity to ship arrives, you can do it. You aren't going, oh, wait, we need to go run the parts, or we need to go do this. No, we're preparing for the end. But that weekly meeting is a nice way to just make sure everyone's on track. And once a month, the all the line workers come up and get in on the call as well.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Thanks for sharing that, Doug. We are not going to have time for the last question, so let's just skip it and scrap it. There's been enough value provided today already, so that's great. Gina, I would like to ask before we go if you had in 1 to 2 sentences, if you could sum this whole topic up, how would you do that?
I would say that alignment between sales, marketing, and operations is a necessity, but it comes from the top down. It has to be a leadership initiative, and there need to be KPIs that the three teams are commonly held against. And that's really the heart and meat and potatoes of what we went over is how to do that, why to do that. Um,
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Thanks again for your time, Gina. This was, for me, it was really valuable. I got a lot of stuff written down here. Hopefully, Mike and Doug, this was great for you as well.
Yes, definitely.
And
Thank you.
yeah, awesome.
hey,
So we
if you
will,
guys
this,
if you guys are connected with me on LinkedIn, just watch out for those other sessions coming up. Like I said, next week I'm doing the one about accelerating sales cycles without burning out teams. And then I'm doing the women in manufacturing one about don't retreat, advance. So you're welcome to join me at those, and if you found value in this. And two, both the one next week is free. The women in manufacturing one, I think they do charge a nominal fee for people to attend. I don't get paid, but I know they charge members and non-members for lunch and learns, but it might be like $25 or $10.
Cool. Thanks again, Gina. And Mike and Doug, normally we do this every Friday. We're sort of at a crucial crossroads here. So we don't have anything this coming Friday. So the 23rd, there's not a meeting. And then on the 30th is actually the last scheduled speaker session. So I've been thinking through what the next best steps are going forward. So keep an eye out that the show will probably be morphing a little bit. I don't really know what that's going to look like yet. We'll take this next Friday off, and then January 30th we're back, and that's going to be an interesting one. Um, Mike, I don't know if this would appeal to you or not. I'm guessing probably not, but that that one on the 30th is a guy that I've met here locally in Louisville, Kentucky. His name's Landon. He runs I don't know, a swag shop. He prints hats and mugs and t-shirts and stuff. But he's got a very unique, a very strategic approach and outlook on how to do swag and merch. That's probably what he normally calls it, merch. How to do that in a strategic way that strengthens relationships and doesn't just end up in the trash. So it's a really interesting topic, but kind of a niche audience. So that'll be on January 30th. And with that, I don't have anything else to share. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Gina, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it and really enjoyed it.
Mike and Doug, it's always good to see both of you. Thank you so much for coming and supporting me and chiming in. You had so much value to add. I appreciate it.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
This was
Very
good.
good episode.
What he said.
Awesome.
Have a good weekend.
See
Bye,
you later,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye, y'all.